while. It has been a while, but I'm going to get to the point. We're going to be doing some chest and triceps here, and I am going to be running you through some of the tips and tricks and form corrections that I've learned, some of the things that I post on my Achievable Instagram, which are super useful. Now, these things are tips and tricks from certain exercises which are going to really help correct your form and get you better results in a shorter space of time. You know, you don't have to be doing 8 exercises for chest and 8 exercises for your triceps in order to get results. You know, the volume itself is not always where you get the results. It's a lot of the time really controlling a movement, understanding where you should be feeling it, making sure your arms and your shoulders and your body position is in the correct place in order to feel it where you should be feeling it and get the results from a lower amount of movements, just making sure that they're done correctly. So yeah, I'm going to be taking through some tips and tutorials that I've learned over the last 12 years and things that I teach my clients, and they have really taken on board and are seeing fantastic results from it. And the sessions are slightly shorter, they're more intense, they're enjoying it, and that's the beauty of it. You're enjoying what you do, you're getting good results for it, and it's in maybe a shorter space of time. So hopefully you enjoy the tips too, and we're gonna head off and do some chest and triceps now. And just before we get going, I want to address the redness. Now that is eczema or eczema. I have suffered from that since I was a baby, basically, and it's now confined to an area just pretty much in my neck and around my eyes. I have redness. One thing to never do is put on a scented moisturizer, because God, I wanted to rip my head off. That wasn't an enjoyable experience, and then my skin really didn't like that, so I ended up, it was peeling. If you have eczema or eczema, make sure you just stick to your unscented, calm, simple moisturizers, and don't go using something else because you've run out of your usual cream. Go out and get it. But anyhow, enough skin talk, let's get to the gains. And I'm going to show you these chest and tricep tips, and I hope you enjoy it. Take them on board, and I'll leave it at that. Hey lads, could have done with some more caffeine this morning. My energy levels this week have been actually really quite low. I'm not entirely sure why. I've been eating all the same things. You know, you're just tired and you just can't stop being tired. That's what I've been like this week. So first of all, we're going to run through some rotator cuff stuff, because most of the injuries that you'll see people get are rotator cuff based. If you're looking at like growing your upper body and you hear any of your mates speaking about, oh, I'm injured, it's usually rotator cuffs or the back or neck. So I'm going to run you through how to actually warm your rotator cuffs up well so that you are less likely to be injured, and then you have stronger rotator cuffs at the same time. So it's a win-win. The usual thing that you'll catch people doing is, you know, standing with a dumbbell or 2 dumbbells, basically, and externally rotating their shoulder like this, okay? Where this isn't doing what you think it's doing is because there's no tension from the starting point to the end point. The idea is that you're bringing the weight out, okay? Where the tension in here is in your bicep, yeah? Tension is all in your bicep, pushing down with gravity, and then you're just rotating like this, all right? So we're gonna swap this out with a cable. Same movement, but with a cable. And if the cable machine isn't free, what I want you to do is find a bench with a dumbbell, all right? You're gonna lie down like a French girl. Nearly. And what you're gonna do if a cable isn't free is lie down with your dumbbell, okay? Then what I want you to do is externally rotate upwards, okay? Because the tension now is against the area in which you want to work, right? So we're from here, externally rotating the shoulder, and there's a lot more tension and it's a lot harder, and you'll notice that immediately when you do that compared to, you know, doing it this way, all right? Tension's here, my biceps tense just to hold the weight there, which is not what you want. So we're gonna swap that out, we're gonna do some cables, and we're gonna get a much better warm up of our rotator cuffs, yeah? Love that. The best way to set this up, okay, is go for a super lightweight on one stack, yeah? And what I want you to do is bring the section with the attachment on up to around about your elbow height. So it's nice and easy to measure. Elbow to there, I can pretty much work out where it's in line with my hand, all right? That way I know I'm gonna be in the same position all the way through as I'm rotating outwards. So what I like to do personally, I mean, you can do it with a cuff, which is handy that that's on there, but personally, I like to do it just with the bare cable itself, all right? I like to hold over the little, there's usually some sort of ball or an end to it. And what I'm looking to do, and what I want you to think about, is having, if someone had put a spear all the way down from the top of your shoulder and it came out your elbow. So you're only able to rotate around that spear, yeah? Rather than bringing your elbow out or whatever else you want it to do, which might feel a little bit more natural. And if it's hard to do and hard to keep in that same position, just drop the weight, okay? This is not an exercise where you want to be going heavy. This is just a warm up. So, personally, I like to do my little ET hand here and hold the whatever attachments at the end. I'm stood with a bit of tension, so not here, here, bit of tension in the movement already, and then that spear is all the way to the ground and going all the way to the roof, and I can only rotate out like this, yeah? It's nice and simple, nice and steady, and it's all controlled. No swinging involved, otherwise you will definitely injure your rotator cuff. Then to swap to the other side, you pretty much just pass it on the other hand, spin around, the same process. All right, movement 2 for rotator cuffs. This one with the dumbbells usually can work as well, but if you're on the cable machine, just stay with the cable. It's so much easier. You don't actually need to alter the height of the cable machine from where you first had it for the external rotation. So what I want you to do for this one, I'll stand on the inside so you can see a bit better, is pretty much lift the elbow up to shoulder height, okay? And the rotation from this one is from this low point here, up to vertical, okay? Down and up, nice and steady. Again, ET hand in the middle of the attachment, elbow high, up to shoulder height, and rotate through. Okay, once you've done them two, we're going to move on to the last one that I like to do, which is an internal rotation. So basically, we're going to be working in the opposite range of the very first one that we did. Well, pretty much, the pole goes through the shoulder, out the elbow, into the floor, and we're coming in towards the body. Nice and steady. What you really want to look for is trying to expose the chest, okay? Tuck your lats in, tuck your elbow in, but keep it to the side, yeah? So we're here, and then we're exposing the chest, really getting a good stretch all the way across here. Coming in. You know what, even if you are knackered and you can't be bothered to get in and do a session, honestly, getting in here gives you energy. Once you've done it, you feel awake again. And you feel good about yourself, because sticking to the things that you've set yourself is a really fulfilling feeling. You know, really fulfilling feeling. So don't skip your sessions, like, even if you're knackered, just do what you can. Give all that you can, and the benefits, mentally and physically, are going up, not down, because you didn't stick to your word or do the session. So it's a win-win. Even if you are knackered, get in, do it. All right, so the first movement I'm going to be doing is a flat bench press, right? Now you might be looking at this going, this is not a barbell. I'm not massively keen on the barbell anymore. I used to be, for the first 5 to 6 years of training, used to do them all the time. And I thought that it was imperative to be doing a bench press in order to grow your chest. But as you become a little bit more wise, you realize that the bench press was probably what was causing me my shoulder injuries. And doing something like this allows a better range of motion and a better plane for me to move my arms in. Because if you think about the chest anatomy, what you're looking to do is really stretch wide, okay? And then in order to contract your chest, your arm actually needs to come across your body ever so slightly. So when you're doing a bench press on a bar, right, you're out wide, but then as you come up, if you lie there or sit there wherever you are right now and just bring your arms out in front of you and try and tense your chest, it's quite hard, right? But whereas if you're out wide here and you bring your hands together, now tense your chest, feel a difference in the contraction between your hands being out wide and just being a little bit closer. So my advice, if you are going to do a compound movement where you really want to blow your chest up to start off with and use a lot of your energy, try and pick something like this here, which starts off nice and wide and gets tighter in at the middle. So we're looking at movements like a dumbbell flat bench press or an incline dumbbell bench press or a machine as such as this. Sometimes they're actually sitting, you're sitting up and you're bringing it in closer. They're all really good movements to engage your chest and get the most out of the exercise. So this is my pick because I really do enjoy this one. I've not really seen it in many other gyms, but you'll get the same benefit from doing a flat dumbbell bench press, yeah? And we're gonna start with this. So when I go into this movement, once I've got myself positioned into a place where I feel is right for me, I'm picking a point on the roof, okay? And that point in the roof, I'm gonna remember and make sure that I'm in that same position every single time. And how I know that I'm in the right position is because I basically retracted my scapula, and what that means is I'm sort of sitting my shoulder blades in that back position here, so my back is nice and flat. Rounded like this, you don't get as much out of it, okay? So I like to kind of roll your shoulder blades back, yeah? Squeeze your back as if you've got a little grape between your shoulder blades and you're trying to just hold that grape whilst you're doing the movement, okay? Now, one thing I'd definitely say with chest is making sure you're not scrunched up like this, all right? So doing that retraction of the scapula, sitting your shoulders basically into the back pockets allows you to not shrug up, because when you're doing this, that's shoulder injury central, okay? Sit your shoulders back, get yourself comfortable, and then with your arms, I want you to really try and picture 90 degrees, 45 and 0, okay? We're gonna be at 45, right? Sticking at 45 throughout the movement, and we're driving through the palm of the hand here, because if you're on here, you're gonna end up with sore wrists. So I'm driving from here because I get much better drive from having the weight balance on here, and especially with this being a fixed machine, I'm not worried about it slipping off, okay? So weight is here, elbows at 45, retracted my scapula, I'm nice and comfortable and seated in to drive forward and bring my hands closer like we mentioned just before to get that ultimate contraction in my chest. No, I need you all the time for everything.
Just let me know, yeah.
All right.
I've done my steps.
Lovely. So from here, I'm looking at the roof. I've got my location, and then I'm gonna bring my arms down. And you can see there my hands are at 45, my arms are at 45, and everything is all aligned and ready to go. Now, what I like to do is actually lift my legs up just to get a bit of a flatter spine. I'm not worried about falling off on this one. And then from here, we're driving up, squeezing the chest at the top. Now, what I really want you to do is focus on the tempo of your movement. And the tempo of your movement basically means the speed in which you're doing it. So if anybody's got a tempo set in their routine, it should be something like 1, 2, with a 1 second pause, 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeat. The reason focusing on your tempo is important is because a lot of the time it's all about pushing the weight. Who can push the most weight? Big egos, all that sort of stuff, and smashing weight up, right? But where the little fibers get the little micro tears is in the eccentric. So if you imagine this is my muscle here, as I'm taking it steady on the way back down and really controlling it and making sure the focus is in the target area, what happens is I get those little micro tears in the fiber, all right? Now that is obviously good. So when you are smashing all this protein and getting your food in and really trying to grow, you know, if you're not focusing on the eccentric part at all, where you get the little micro tears, then you're gonna be missing out on a lot, right? So you're driving up, fantastic, you can push loads of weight, but if you're just pulling it down like this, not controlling the way down, you're missing out on a lot of gains. So control your eccentrics, control your tempo, drive up, be powerful, you know? Make sure your form is good, all right? But on the way down, double control, yeah? Power up, double control, and your gains in a short space of time will be massive, much, much better, especially if you're eating the right amount of protein, getting your calories in, and you're lifting with intent. You're pushing yourself to grow. All right, we're moving on to 3 plates now. We're getting serious. 8 reps, I'd say. Ooh. Yeah. With the amount of sets and reps to look for, usually I'm in the 8 to 12 range. I usually warm up in the higher amount and then work down to 8. My working sets, so my heavy sets, for example, this one, you know, I'm doing 8 reps. I'll probably do 2, maybe 3 sets. So in total, I'm probably looking at 4, 5 sets per exercise, including warm-ups, that is, by the way. But once you are warmed up, you don't always need to go straight into another 2 sets of warm-up reps, right? So my next one, incline dumbbell, and we're gonna go pretty much, you know, maybe 1 warm-up set just to get used to the movement, and then go straight into my working sets for 2 to 3 sets. Okay, we're going for an incline bench press. With the bench, usual, I was looking to see where the camera was there, you'll be able to see it in the mirror as well. 45-degree bench, yeah, 35 to 45. Sometimes I do like it higher than usual people, just because I feel an extra good stretch in my upper chest. And what you'll find is that when people are on a bench anyway, especially an incline bench, there's a lot of arching going on, which basically brings you back to being on a flat bench anyway. So you want to try and restrict that as much as possible and keep your core tight. Yeah, really important to keep your core tight. Sometimes if you want to raise your legs, that'll aid that quite nicely. So either have your legs up or on the dumbbell rack or whatever else. If you can find something that you can lift your legs up, you'll have a nice flat spine, and then you'll get a good stretch in your upper chest. And you can move it like that rather than it being like that. Because a lot of people, as you get heavier in the weight, you'll start to arch more and it becomes less effective on your upper chest. So if you're looking to grow your upper chest, really concentrate on the angle of the bench for one, making sure that it's predominantly hitting your upper chest, not your full chest everywhere else, and then the arch in your back. Okay, concentrate on that, try and keep your core tight, plant your feet in if needs be, lift your legs up if needs be. Get yourself in that position where you can feel the stretch here rather than all the way across here too, yeah? So in this position here, elbows nice and tight. Hit that 45-degree angle, so I'm tucking them into my lats a little bit. Nice and comfortable, good stretch. Up and squeeze, yeah? With the angle of the dumbbells for me, personally, I like them at a little bit of a, I want to explain it as a triangle, yeah? Not so much flat, like a flat bar. So I'm not coming like wide like this and up like this. I just find that it recruits my shoulder a little bit more and I get little clicking sensations in my shoulder. So if you're someone that does get clicking sensations and whatever else, you probably want to just angle your elbows a little bit further down and then just face your wrists the same way as your elbows are pointing. So like, for example, I'm out wide here, I want to be tucked, yeah? Have my elbows pointing down. So just look at where your elbows are facing and then just align your wrists with that, yeah? For me, that's a comfortable position. I'm coming down, getting a good stretch, and then up to the top for a good contraction. And that is all it takes for your upper chest, to be honest. The incline bench press is the best movement for growing a thicker, fuller chest. So if you can get this nailed and progressively move up in the weight whilst keeping the same form, you are going to blow your chest up. Yeah, this is my favorite movement, without a doubt. It's about that time. Boy, there we go. It's about time that I show you that I'm not just all chat, that there is actually some muscle underneath that big jumper. Good stretch all the way across my upper chest. driving up, squeezing it at the top here. All I'm trying to do is bring my elbows closer together. That just allows you to get that good squeeze. Yeah. So at the top of the movement, I should look like something like that, which is getting that upper chest contraction. Okay, this last movement is a superset. Dips was something that I never really realized how good they are until the last couple of years. Especially now that we've hit something flat, so covering all of our chest, we've done something incline. The dips really helps target that boob overhang area of your chest, okay? So with the dip, all right, there's a few different ways to do it, and there's different positions to put yourself in that are gonna target different areas. For example, you know, if you're more upright, you're gonna hit more your triceps. If you're more leaning forward and a bit of a zigzag in your body, allowing your chest to be the facing directly to the floor, you're gonna be hitting more of your chest, yeah? So we're gonna be angling ourselves like that, slightly different, and focusing on really controlling the descent, or the eccentric, yeah? And driving up, being nice and powerful on the way up, because it's fantastic movement. And once you're comfortable with your own body weight, we're gonna move to weight. The form is first. Before any extra weight is added, we're gonna nail the form, because I want you to hit it in the right area, okay? So conventional, you know, you're up here, you're coming down like this. This is a lot more tricep than you want it to be, yeah? When you're looking forward, you're squeezing tricep, okay? What I'm gonna try and get you to do is get out of this position here. And we're going back down to our tucked shoulders, yeah? We're back in here, and the chest needs to be prominent, okay? So from here, you try and maintain this position when you go into the setup for the dip, yeah? So when you're in this position here, all right? If I step up on these steps so you can see, I want you in that position. Now from here, I personally like a bit of a zigzag in my body, because it allows me to maintain that position. So lift your knees up a little bit and stick your ass out, okay? And you'll have a nice straight spine, and you'll be able to tilt your body, because the way you angle your legs will allow the weight displacement. The weight displacement will be slightly different, so you can literally keep the focus where it should be, rather than your legs being straight and you're going back to training triceps all over again, okay? We're gonna get to that, but not just yet. So from here, up to the top, bring the knees in, tilt the body forward, get nice and low, good stretch, and drive up, yeah? And what I want you to do is focus less on just trying to push up to get to the top, and I want you to try and, with these bars here, bring them to the middle, yeah? Push them together, all right? It's gonna be hard to do hard to think about unless you're actually doing it, but basically at the top, what I'm trying to do is bring these bars and bend them into each other, right? Trying to fucking rip them off, basically, yeah? So from here, in, down, squeeze the chest. Like that. And once you get the hang of them, they're a fantastic movement just to be good at, you know? A lot of body weight stuff is neglected. There's a lot of people that can move a lot of weight but can barely do a pull-up, barely do a press-up, barely do a dip. So being good at this is a fantastic movement just to be good at in general. So next up, once you've done your dip, we're gonna be doing the press-up. So let me just angle the camera down, and I'll run through my preferred press-up angle to finish off your chest. It's a bit of a superset, this one. 10 to 12 reps. I mean, what I usually do, or what I usually prescribe, is an AMRAP. So AMRAP basically means as many reps as possible, yeah? AMRAP, do as many as you can with good form, and then we're gonna move directly down to the floor, straight into some press-ups for an AMRAP as well. And we're doing 3 sets of those. Okay, with your press-ups, you're gonna see a reoccurring theme here, and it's seating your shoulders back and keeping your traps from being up here, keeping your shoulders from rising, basically. So we're trying to stretch the traps and tuck the lats into your back pocket and keep your arms at that 45-degree beside your body. Same principle goes for press-ups. So if you just imagine, I mean, if I was doing an upside-down press-up, so lying on my back, I'm pretty much doing a flat dumbbell bench press, right? So it's the same principle here. You don't want your elbows flared, you don't want to be just trying to nod the floor, kiss the deck, okay? If you're in this position here, think about your elbows. So my hands are nice and parallel to each other, yeah? And then I'm bringing my elbows to 45 degrees, look. There, 90, there, 0, right? So 45 degrees, okay? Tensing my core, and then from here, I want you to think about that tuck of your shoulders, yeah? It's slowly lower the chest to the floor, drive up. Okay, so once you've nailed that, you'll find that your press-ups become much easier and you actually become stronger in your other lifts too. Because having that continuation of your form throughout all the different movements, you know, you're not elbows high on one, you're not elbows low on the other, and whatever else, hands wide, hands medium. Okay, so having that continuation of form and your range of motion is continuous through all of your movements. You'll find that you gain a lot of strength. You know, with having the control of the tempo, you're going to gain a lot more soreness for one, but you're also going to gain a lot more muscle because you're breaking down the fibers, you're controlling the movement, and you're repeating the process over again, just for slightly different areas and different exercises. And you don't need to be doing millions of exercises for your chest. You know, these are the exercises that I'm doing, that I've been doing for the past few years, and you know, my chest is in a fantastic place. My injuries and my shoulders and whatever else are non-existent. I don't have any injuries. You know, I had a neck injury last year, but that was from doing something stupid, which I wasn't even in the gym. So, right, lads, first tricep movement I'd like to go for is a simple push down, a bar push down, I like a straight bar. And what we're going to look for is a simple fix, which is a very common mistake. Commonly, as you'll see this movement perform, elbows tight to your sides, and people will try and bring the bar down to their hips. Yeah? My triceps are not fully contracted in this position. Okay, so in order to get the full contraction, I want you to, instead of trying to bring it down towards you and trying to tense your triceps with the bar, that doesn't go any further back than your hips. I want you to bring it straight down, okay? And I want you to keep your elbows a little bit further forward on your body, still fixed in, still in this fixed position, so you're not, you know, leveraging up and down and using your lats, but you're gonna keep in that fixed position and you're gonna drive down with the triceps and you get a good squeeze at the bottom here. Tight into the side, locked in. I kind of, honestly, lock my biceps underneath my my pecs. The pecs should be full enough from the start of the workout to be able to at least wedge your biceps underneath and just kind of be in that T-Rex position here to drive down and get the movement done correctly. So from here, nice straight back, a bit of a tense core. And then what I'm doing is bringing the weight underneath the stack. All right, so I'm not back here. You see the angle of the line, hopefully. And then I'm driving down directly to the floor, yeah? Steady up, try to keep my palms of my hands over the top of the bar. So it's not like this, and I'm doing it like this way. Palms of my hands are over the top, driving down, squeezing the life out of my triceps at the bottom. And I can go heavier than that. And I think my cap's putting me off now. All right, lads, so the next movement I'm gonna go for is with these ropes here. Now, you might not have these in your gym, but an alternative, which you probably do have in your gym, is just the regular ropes with the balls at the bottom. Now, the only issue with them is they're usually not long enough, okay? So if you can find 2 of them, and you manage to steal 2 when you're in your gym, attach those down and then just basically pull the rope through the loop. And so you have 2 long ones rather than just 1 short one, okay? Reason being is that it's the same sort of principle with the first movement. You'll not get the full range of motion with this movement, which basically just means that you're not gonna be able to contract your tricep as much and get the most out of it, all right? So I want you to get the most out of each of these movements. So to reference, the previous ropes, they're usually shorter, they're usually around about here. And if I was to lock myself in and try and perform this movement, again, I can't get a full contraction because I'm actually limited by the length of the rope. So if you can find something like this, please do, because you get a much better result from this exercise. Now, with this one, as opposed to the other one, we're pushing in front of our body. This one, I want you to be pushing or extending behind your back, all right, or behind your torso, okay? Lock yourself in, get yourself comfortable. Squeezed in. This time we're going elbows by your side, okay? Flat into your torso, so not under the chest like we were before. Flat here, all right? Stand up straight, chest up, looking forward. I want you to push down and extend your arms out and back. And it's really important to try and maintain that sort of Christmas tree shape, silhouette, as you're doing this movement, and not come down with the ropes and just bring them forward and tight in the middle. Got to maintain, and if you can't do that, drop the weight. Like, there's no shame in dropping the weight and keeping the movement in the correct path. So you get the most out of it. Otherwise, you're missing out. Like, don't worry about the weight. Back. Squeeze. So I'm going to be moving on to a cable overhead extension. So I've set it up pretty much like this. So I'm sitting here, and if you have a machine in which you can adjust the arm of the actual cable itself, then do this. Bring a bench up really close to the back of it, and then it allows you to be able to sort of hold onto this bit and then extend up behind the back of the bench. If that makes sense there. If you don't have the ability to be able to do this whole cable setup, then I want you to just use a dumbbell. Honestly, you can either have the bench sitting up like this, or just lie flat and then sit up straight, so you can get the most out of this one. So from setting this up, you just got to basically grab the cable from behind the bench. So once I've managed to grab that, I'm gonna feed it to the other hand, and then the stopper here is going to be resting on the back side of my hand. So I'm just going to allow it to pull my arm behind the bench here, just to make sure that it's not too heavy, that you rip your arm off. Because that's not what we're looking for, really, is it? You know? Keep the elbow pointing up to the roof. So all I'm looking for, really, on the camera, I can actually see myself here now, is that my elbow is pointing up to the roof, and then I'm basically just extending up, and then coming steady down. The correction for this one, whether you're using it with dumbbells or cables, I mean, this is just down to mobility, really, or shoulder mobility. So you might not find that you're able to actually lift your elbow or have your elbow pointing directly up to the roof, and you have to come out slightly to the side. In this case, this exercise might not be the best one for you. Instead, I'll go for something a bit like a skull crusher. Do that on an incline bench. If you can imagine I'm on an incline bench here, bring the weight behind your head, and then come up and obviously squeeze your triceps like that. You're going to have the similar sort of movement path and contraction and lengthening of the muscle that you're looking to work, without the pain of your shoulder being pulled back into some awkward position. But if you have the flexibility there, then it's definitely something you should do. Right, last movement, we're going for a skull crusher. And we're going to be doing this a little bit different, because it's not going to be crushing your skull at all at any point. You know, the usual way of doing this is to bring the bar down to your skull, your face, you know, and I don't want to smash my face up, and I want a better range of motion again. So what I'm going to be looking to do here, actually learned this one from Steve Cook a long while ago, is pretty much bring your head up to the edge of the bench, right? Head up to the edge of the bench. So you're resting here, and then if you see that my arms are vertical here, what I'm looking to do is create some tension by bringing them slightly back. So imagine, obviously, I've got the bar in my hands here. I'm creating the tension, and this is my finishing point. So just try and keep your eyes on that point in the roof or on the ceiling. And then every time you extend your arms back up and you're squeezing your triceps, aim for that point and don't start bringing them to a comfortable point where there's no tension in your arms whatsoever, and you can just kind of rest there, right? So from here, we're coming down, we're going behind the head, and we're getting a good stretch, a bit higher. We're getting a good stretch in our triceps, okay? And your elbows will move in this one a little bit, but it's just gonna elongate the tricep here, and you're gonna get a better stretch, all right? Nice and simple. Get a comfortable position with your wrists on the bar. I'm not gonna tell you which way to do this, because everybody likes it in a different, everyone likes it in a different position. So from up to the top, angle it a little bit back. So I've got the tension in my triceps there now. So yeah, here, this is tension's in my chest. I'm using my chest to push this weight up to the top here. Back here, my triceps are in, yeah? So that's where I want to stop, and that's where I want to also start this movement, all right? Bending at the elbows first. We're gonna come down, down, down behind the head, and then you see my elbows move back a little bit, getting a good stretch, and then back up to the top. Steady on the way down. That's all I'm looking for here. Is a really slow eccentric. Like that. And if you want to be extra, bring your hands into the middle.
And then we're gonna go for a close grip bench press. If you haven't done these before, what you need to do is basically bring the bar right up to the top of your chest, and you're pretty much doing a tricep extension from like this position here, yeah? And you won't get many, I'd say that for free. Oh. Hey. There's your movements. You know, 8 to 12 reps between all of them. Controlled, intentional. We're intentionally putting our arms in certain positions and whatever else to really get the most out of each one. And take your time, you know, control your eccentrics. You're gonna get your tears in your muscle fibers. You know, you're eating all this food, you're pushing yourself in the weights, you may as well be lifting sort of correctly and getting the most out of your sessions. So yeah, there's, what, 6 to 8 movements there, 8 movements in total to take on board, chest and triceps. What would a video be without a little physique update to finish with? Around about 90 kilos, 90, 91 kilos at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say really. I mean, this is where I'm at. But yeah, around 90, nearly 91 kilos this morning. Honestly, I feel like the posing is harder than the actual working out sometimes. But anyhow, that's enough waffle. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And if you have any suggestions or what you want to see in the next video, drop them down below and I will happily make those videos for you. Appreciate it. And until next time.